we start off today, we're going to start off on the baseball strike, whose fault it is, and what people are doing about it. Today, if this is the first time you're watching it, it's September 14th, the day that the strike may last until next season. But I definitely think that it's the players' fault. They're getting too much money, and I think that the owners should give them a little bit much, but a salary cap is not necessary right now unless the player is looking for that much money. What do you think, Dan?
Well, Sean, I agree it's the players' fault, but you got to see where they're going. See, hockey, they don't want to be played an average. If they think they're special, they think they should be paid a special amount of money. And I can see that, and I can also see the owner's point where they don't want this, so paying that athletes have the most money in the world. Well, they do now, but they don't want to be playing one player as much as they could pay one team.
I think very much on the same lines as you do, with the players not getting too much money, and they should have the salary caps, I think, but I think they should have just tried to figure it out this season, because I mean, there's no way they're going to play anymore anyways, because the deadline was today. I guess they didn't make any talks or anything. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the season is definitely over by now. I mean, I see no chance in them coming back. Even if they do come back, I think that there's going to be some sort of boycott on baseball. And, I mean, the World Series this year, if they do come back, which is like, there's a 99% chance they won't. I mean, the World Series, I mean, you just missed a month of baseball. That's a month of pennant races, people playing games to try to get into the lead. So all that's erased right now. But, okay, so since the season is pretty much over, we have selected MVPs and Cy Young Awards for all the leagues. For the American League, I have selected Frank Thomas as the MVP with a 353 average, 38 home runs, and a league-leading .729 slugging percentage. He's the guy that you got to go to when it comes for MVP. Den?
Sorry, Sean. I got Jose Canseco, the Texas Rangers. Look at this guy. He throws out his arm trying to pitch, and he comes back after surgery. Tremendous year. Home runs everywhere. Stolen bases. The guy can do it all. That's my pick.
Okay, Dan?
I'll go along with you, Sean, for Frank Thomas. I think he's got the nickname The Big Hurt for one apparent reason, because he is. And I think he's really wants to play, and he likes it, and he's pretty darn good at it, too.
So, Dennis going with Jose Canseco, and us two going with Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas, again, won the MVP last year. I don't know if there's going to be any MVP award this year with the strike interfering with it. So I don't know all about that. For the National League, you had to go with, of course, Jeff Bagwell. A .368 average, 39 home runs, and 116 RBIs. I mean, what a season for a guy. For an ex-Red Sox, he's pretty good, but I mean, what a season for a guy who, even sustaining an injury this year, he did a great year, getting 116 RBIs, league leading by far. Dan, who did you pick?
I also went along with Jeff Bagwell. I'm not trying to copy you or anything. I think Jeff Bagwell has a real taste, and he's pretty good, and he knows what he's doing, and he listens to directions, and he does anything he can to get better. And I think he's just an overall great player.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jeff Bagwell would have won it if they had a poll, but I think Moses Alou deserves it the most. I think he's the hardest working player. Great hitter, great fielder, great speed.
And then, of course, that All-Star game hit that won it for the National League after that big drought against the American League. That hit, of course, off Wilmington's Jason Beret, which lost it for the American League. Okay, moving on to the American League again, Cy Young Award. I picked David Cone, 16-5 overall, a .294 ERA, and 132 strikeouts. I mean, he's the guy to go to. He had a great season. Like, he's had many great seasons, but I think that this is one of his best so far. Dan?
I don't really have Cy Young person I really have picked out. I think that Jimmy Keys had a great year, and Roger Clemens, and David Cohn. I think that you can't really tell right now because you haven't seen what's happened for like the other half of the year and a little less. So you can't really make it out because some of them would just get into it and some will lose in it. And
So Dan, let's go back to you said that Roger Clemens has someone that could do it. I mean, he had an 8-9 record, but he had a great ERA. What do you say about that?
I think it's just his defense. His team can't do it for him. I mean, the defense on the field's not too bad. It's just when they get up, when they can't really do much. They lose the games 1-0, 2-1, and I think that's something they got to work on.
Well, I disagree totally with you that Clemens pitches a good games, but if he pitches a 2-run game, his opponent pitches a 1-run game. And so the team's not beating him, it's the other pitcher is beating Clemens.
Yeah, I think so. That Clemens is an all-star, but when he's matched up with other all-stars, that the statistics just aren't there to support him. That I think he's getting older when these young guys, Mike Mussina, Randy Johnson, David Cohn, those sort of guys, when they pitch against him, they can outpitch him now. Since he's the Red Sox all-star pitcher, they have to send him out against other all-star pitchers, and I don't think Clemens is doing the job.
Totally agreed.
So, Dennis, who did you pick for the Cy Young?
Well, I went on a landslide. I went Lee Smith, Baltimore Orioles, the closer. 33 saves. I thought the race was wide open this year, but that's who I had to go with because I think he's tremendous.
Okay, I believe he had 20 by the end of June. Then he slowed down a little bit, actually maybe not slowed down is the word, but I just don't see Lee Smith. I mean, he's got the save record and all, but I wouldn't pick him. Dennis Eckersley won it a couple years ago as a reliever, but I don't see Lee Smith being in competition with guys like Jimmy Key and David Cohn. I don't care if they're starters and relievers, but I don't think that you can compare guys like that. Okay, moving to the National League, the Cy Young Award I chose was Greg Maddux. I mean, how could you not pick this guy? 15-6 record with a surprising Major League leading 1.63 ERA. I mean, he won it last year. He won it again this year. I just think that he was probably one of the best pitchers in a couple of years to come. He's been having a great season every year, and this year is no exception. Dan?
I'll agree on that one with you because I do believe he is having a great season, and he would even have a better season if they just kept going on. But you can't really tell like in the American League, and it's just you don't know really.
There's the only pitcher in the National League worthy of the award. They're soon going to be changing it to the Greg Maddux Award because there's nobody else can either compete with him.
Of course, Greg Maddux is his second award. That's coming close to Roger Clemens's. I believe he has 3, chasing for 4. But do you think that Clemens will get to the 4 mark, or do you think Maddux is sticking where he is? Or
I think Clemens will reach it. I think Clemens will get a Cy Young next year and then retire because I don't think you could take it anymore. He's just going to go after it all next year.
I think that he's getting older where he's not going to be as productive as he was in the past. He's won these Cy Young Awards, but I don't think that Clemens has what it takes these days to win another Cy Young. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, just looking at his record this year, he's coming off the worst 2 seasons of his career. I think that he's going into a drought that's going to last until the end of his career.
I think, as Dennis said, he's got one more in him because, I mean, he's showing a little this year, and they're going to get a better draft pick next year, and they're just going to keep building on it. And I think that he might get one more under the belt, and then retire or have one more season, not be like a real star pitcher, but just be like now and then pitcher.
Okay, since we're on the Red Sox topic, talking about next year, guys have had their last game already, veterans for the Red Sox team. Players like Andre Dawson, Danny Darwin, Scott Fletcher, Barry Hill, and then of course Frank Viola, who's been injured basically this whole entire year. I think that the Sox are going to have to develop their farm system a little bit more so that they can compete at this major league level. Dan, what do you think?
I will agree with that because they need some upcoming talent too because they're losing their older, most successful and all those people. So they're going to need to bring some more people up to the farms and AA and AAA and all that stuff so they can have more talent so when they bring them up. And they just really need, like, they're going to need it soon because they got to bring up the young talent like they were starting last year.
Yeah.
Well, this year earlier.
Yeah. But I don't expect to see any guys like Mo Vaughn and Aaron Seeley's coming up in the near future, but I do hope to see guys who can hit the ball some more. Of course, we saw what Greg Blosser did when he brought him up last year. He was like Era City. So I would like to see guys that maybe not they have the best average and the most home runs in the world, but guys that can hit the ball and do some fielding and then work on it after that. Dennis, what do you think?
Well, 3 or 4 years ago, when they went out and signed all these guys that were on the verge of the end of the career, you could have swore it was going to be like this. They're all going down now, and you need people to replace them. And where they're going to get those, they're going to be young kids, probably rookies, not ready for the majors, but they're going to be forced into playing important roles. And I don't think the Red Sox are going to be contenders for a while.
Yeah, I think that Butch Hobson is making horrible decisions. He's looking more on what is now instead of the future. I think that in the past 3 years, he's been signing veterans who can hit but aren't going to be around forever. So, I mean, just look, last year they signed Rob Deere for like 1 year, and then they just released him. They've been signing guys that are like 1 year, you do it or you don't. So I hope to see more in the future of them signing young prospects instead of veterans who can hit but aren't going to be around forever.
I like the idea of having young people because they're the ones who really want to play.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few major league players who've been in there for a few years that still like to play. But I mean, the little or the younger guys, they come in and they're really excited about playing and they just want to be out there and they want to get as much attention as they can and they just want to become like anyone else, famous. And then after a few weeks or so, they still in there, and then a month go by, and then they start getting more like the regular players, and they start thinking about the money. That's all they really want.
Yeah, but I definitely think that what was I gonna say? You got to think of this for a second. That Tony Gwynn, Jeff Bagwell, those sort of guys, they were once rookies. So that means that the rookies of today are going to be the all-stars of tomorrow. So you got to look at it that way, where the rookies, you need to sign them and hope for the best that they can adapt to this major league environment. Dennis, anything else to say?
Yes, you said the rookies. The rookies of today are going to be tomorrow's all-stars. One example, Aaron Seeley. Jim Palmer pointed out that he's had the best curveball he's ever seen in all his years playing.
Yeah,
but he's got to develop some other kind of pitch because the hitters are just waiting for it.
Yeah, because I mean, Aaron Seeley is a great pitcher. Won the rookie. He came, I believe, in second place in Rookie of the Year voting a couple of years ago. I think that he's one of the prospects to watch out for. People are saying that he could be the next, like Roger Clemens, Mike Mussina, but I wouldn't jump to my leap so far because this year after having a great year last year, not allowing more than 2 runs a game, he sort of broke down during June and July this year with allowing 5-run games. It looks like he's more adapting to the major league environment in a negative way, where I think he sort of got cocky thinking, wow, I'm in the major league, I just came in second place in Rookie of the Year voting, I must be pretty good, and started losing something on it this year. So I hope next year that he concentrates like he did in his first year in the majors.
Yeah, and Woody has to realize that you're never too good. You can always be a little bit better.
Yeah. Dan, anything to say?
I like to point on Den's thought because it is true. They can always get better. You can always have improvement. And like Aaron Seeley, not like getting used to it and everything. Well, it's like what happened to Roger Clemens. All he has is his fastball, and I mean, he needs some more pitches. And
Yeah.
it's almost like Greg Harris when he only had like the great curve, and
Yeah.
then everyone kept practicing on the curve and all that stuff.
After a
and
couple of years, Greg
Yeah.
Harris got old and he began to get
lose
worse.
it, throw hanging curves and everything. And
But moving on to the Pawtucket Red Sox, of course, you may know by now that in the semifinals of the championship, they lost to the Syracuse Orange Men. The Syracuse went on to go on to the championship with Richmond, but I mean they lost 3-1, and this is the best AAA team that in the International League. So I don't see how Syracuse could beat them. I mean, sure they beat them, but they beat them 3-1. I mean, I don't see how they could do that with getting. I mean, they beat Pawtucket at home. They beat them both times away. So, Dennis, is it?
I didn't follow the series that good. After they lost, what were they down? 2-1?
Yeah.
That's when I turned off the series. I said, forget it, that's enough.
Yeah.
Because they're supposed to be the best team.
Yeah. Dan, did you follow it at all?
I really never started to watch it, but I mean,
Oh.
I heard about it, and I was getting sort of disappointed because they had a great year and everything, and
Yeah.
they kept blowing it, and so
Mhm.
and it was sort of weird having that going on without the pro leagues going on, and
Mhm.
so I just decided to watch football because it was the thing that was on. And
Yeah.
they didn't really care many Pawtucket.
I think that that's what's happening now, that baseball is fading out where football is coming in with the new seasons in. And I think that baseball is, I mean, with the pros not playing, people don't follow the International League that much anyway. And when people hear about a baseball strike, they automatically tune their TV sets to NFL thinking that there's no baseball on. But you got to remember that International League does play their World Series at the beginning of September, a month before the pros do. So, okay, moving on to another topic, the New England Patriots. Of course, their first two games, they lost both. They lost the first one to Miami by, I believe it was, how many points? 3 points? Then they lost to Buffalo by 4 points. But you look at it, I think that their secondary has blown every game that they've played so far. And I think that they need to up their secondary a little bit and try to pressurize the quarterback some more in the front line and try to make sure that those wide receivers don't get wide open like Irving Fryer and Doug Beebe. Dennis, do you?
I agree totally with you. If there was no such thing as a secondary in football, the Patriots would be 2-0 right now. But unfortunately there is. The Patriots get burnt on the bomb and the short passes, never know what to expect, and they're just getting burnt, and that's the reason. I mean, Drew Bledsoe has performed terrific, I think, the first two games. He's starting to show like he's going to be a true leader, and that's what the New England needs.
Yeah, I mean, you look in the preseason, he threw, even in this season right now, he's been throwing a lot of interceptions, and he fumbled the ball once, which that was a questionable fumble inside the end zone, that Buffalo game. But like you say, the Patriots have the best offense in the NFL with 70 points already scored. But the bad part is they got the second to worst defense, allowing 77 points to their opponents, only second to the Raiders, who have allowed 80 points.
I was looking at the stats a few days ago, and they said that they were 2-12 in like 4 or something, and with 35 points or more. And
Yeah.
It's hard to lose a game by 35 points. I mean,
Yeah.
you work so hard to get to 35, and the other team gets 37, 38, 39, or whatever.
I mean, the offense has been doing their job. I think it's the defensive problem where you can't score 35 points in a ball game and then lose it. I mean, you have to give some credit to the defense where Bledsoe has thrown about like 4 or 5 interceptions, and then of course they fumbled the ball a few times. Right now they have seven. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, 7 turnovers in the first 2 games, and like Bill Parcells was saying, they can't just do that. Dennis, do you have anything to say on the Patriots?
No,
No?
nothing.
Nothing? Dan, anything else?
I think that the turnovers is sort of hurting them a little more too.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's hard to look and say they didn't do too great because they scored 35 points, even though. But I mean, you look at it and they have 7 turnovers, and they have like 3-4 game and all that stuff. And if you commit turnovers, you're just gonna lose it because I mean, it's natural. I mean, if you lose it and then they go
Yeah.
all the way down for a touchdown and then you're down 7 times and it just keeps adding up and adding up.
But yeah, I mean that fumble in the end zone versus Buffalo, that was a crucial fumble, and it was still questionable. I mean, Bledsoe was going back to pass, and when he brought it a little bit forward, someone snapped his hand open. So he didn't snap his hand open. He hit his hand, and the ball came loose, and Buffalo jumped on it. So I think that Bledsoe needs to work a little bit quicker. I mean, he's doing good right now, but I think he needs to look a little bit. He needs to work a little bit more quicker. You got to remember this is a second-year quarterback, and not expect a lot out of him, but expect a little bit out of him.
And you got to remember, it's like he looks mainly for the long passes and the guys down there. When there's all these guys scampering around and stuff wide open and just find an open field, and he's looking deep, and it's hard to tell somebody from when they're short. And
Yeah.
I mean, he should just look for easy plays like 5-10 yards, and if there's a guy open deep, then just launch it to him. But I mean, if you get close enough anyways, you can just throw another 10-yard pass, and if they or run it in, because you got Marion Butts, who hasn't showed much so far this year.
Miami completely blew out their running game. So I don't know if he was the answer or if we should have stuck with Leonard Russell. Okay, anything else more to say on the Patriots?
Don't think.
Okay. I myself think that was a great decision by ML Carr. I mean, Dominique may not be a leader, but he's something to get the team going. Dennis, do you have it?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think Purvis Ellison's going to help out a lot, along with Eric Montrose and Blue Edwards.
Okay. So I still, even with the additions of Ellison and Wilkins, I don't see the Celtics making a championship for another 5 years. How about you?
I'll agree
At
with
least
that.
5 years.
At least.
I think they're building up right now, and it's going to take them a little while.
Yeah, I think that right now they've lost what the Celtic pride was with the loss of, in the past few years, they've lost Bird, McHale, Parrish, and Lewis. And for a team to lose 4 of its starters in like 3 years, that's a hard thing to do with a team. But hopefully these additions will make the team a little bit better. On the other hand, Robert Parrish, we lost him to the Charlotte Hornets. So I don't know. Dennis, do you think we should have kept him or let him go?
Definitely should have kept him. He only has 2-3 more years left. Let him stay with the Celtics. Maybe you can teach Montrose the ropes. I think you should have kept him.
I mean, Montrose as a rookie cannot just go in as a starting rookie without some veteran advice on who's in the NBA, what you got to look out for. I definitely think that they should have kept Parrish, even as maybe something like a player coach, but I think we should have kept him. Okay, so that'll wrap it up for this month. All right. Now here's Ronald Blackington and Tim Smith with some sports editorials.
What we're talking about today is the baseball strike.
Here on Sports Editorial today, we're going to be talking about how the baseball strike, even though it's not over, it's pretty much over to all the viewers of baseball. We really don't care anymore because all of us, are really excited about the football season. And I mean, number one, we really don't care if all those baseball players are going to be whining about their paycheck. What do you think about the subject, Tim?
They should just end the season and get on started over next year.
Why do they bother? I mean, nobody's gonna feel bad for them. Sports players get paid so much money these days. They got to be so lucky. They're filthy rich, but they're gonna whine about it. I mean, hey, they get paid on how good they play. If they want to get paid more, play better. What else can I say? And plus, I mean,
I mean, they get unemployment too while they're on strike, I think. I'm pretty sure.
they're just not gonna be getting paid for a while, and I mean, that's their loss.
Paid all their money.
What's the point of complaining? They're getting paid millions every day.
They've already gotten paid enough to last them probably the rest of their life. Why do they need more?
Plus, I for one am really excited about the football season. I don't give a care at all about baseball anymore because, I mean, it's pretty much season's over. Not over for them though, but I don't care. I want to see some action in football. What about you?
Yeah, same.
What teams are you looking for to strive for their goals this year?
Well, hometown
Me too.
Patriots.
I'm a hometown kind of guy. What else can I say? I love the Patriots.
Yeah.
They're a great team. Bledsoe's, I think he's got a good year ahead of him. And that concludes this week of Sports Editorial. My name's Rylan Blackerton.
And I'm Tim Smith.
Adios.
Until next month, I'm Sean Neville.
Dan Sweet.
I'm Dennis Ingram.
Until next month, so long.
WCTV Incorporated is not responsible for the content, views, or opinions expressed in the